John Nichols is a 22-year member of MDRT with 2 Court of the Table and 15 Top of the Table qualifications. He's also an Excalibur Knight and Legion of Honor member of the MDRT Foundation and served as the foundation's president. He has been active in numerous committees, including as Global Council member of the Membership Division and chair of the Bylaws and Ethics Committee. A frequent speaker at MDRT national events, John is also the past president of NAIFA and an author of 2 books. In 2012, he received the James E. Smith Camp Award from the Illinois Spinal Cord Injury Association for outstanding service and fundraising, and received the Richard M. Daley and Maggie Daley Golden Shoe Award. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for the MDRT second vice president, my friend, John Nichols.
Okay, I think we're all good to go. Enough of the introductions. Where would you like me to begin? Because I got a couple of different bodies of content. I don't want to just vomit on you. Is that a word? Is that a word? How about any questions? Anyone? You're here for a reason. What would you like to hear? What would you like to learn or expand on? Go ahead.
I would like to ask from you. Hi, my question would be coming out from your presentation earlier, what were some of the things that you did to eliminate the distractions in your life?
Geez, how do you eliminate distractions from your life? And so the higher your priority or the higher your ideal, the distractions tend to slip away. And so it's and so then that's one way. The second way is I box them up. So I'll just use today's language. If we're going to do Facebook, I'm only going to do Facebook between, let's say, 7 and 7:30 p.m. You know, so I box up the distractions. And then the third is when I work, I'm only going to work for a period of time. Let's call it 40 minutes, and then I get 5-minute break. Because what I try not to do is, it's so easy to get sucked into the computer screen and I'm just like, and so I time it. I use a timer for that, and I time the amount of time I'm going to do X activity. So like when I do workouts, as in physical workouts, I actually time it. I'm either doing a 60-minute workout or I'm doing a 90-minute workout. No less, no more. This is the time I'm going to spend doing that. If I'm going to make my 10 phone calls, now I don't care how long they take. I mean, I do to a degree, but the goal is 10 phone calls. Make the 10 phone calls. If I'm going to read a chapter in a book, I read a chapter in a book, right? And so it gets to be very specific, and then that's the victory. The victory is the reward. I get a 5-minute break. I get a second cup of coffee. I get a little chocolate milk, I get, whatever it is, and I just have fun with it, like just what you just did right there. That's the fun of it right there. And so, for example, that plank that I do a 6-minute plank every morning. I don't get my coffee unless I do my plank. Well, I want coffee. I want my coffee. I want my coffee. And so I got to do my 6-minute plank. And those are just the rules of the game of how I operate my life. Your rules might be different, and I wouldn't blame you if they were different, but that's just how I play the game. There will always be distractions, and you just have to learn to decide, am I going to give in to the distraction, or am I going to just get used to saying no to things that are not adding value to my life? True story. I almost hate to admit it, but since we're being so transparent with each other, I loved Sega hockey. I was the best in the world at Sega hockey. Well, my priorities got a little higher when I opened up the business, where I was like, I haven't played Sega hockey in like 20 years. I don't even know, does it exist anymore? And so what happens is when you increase your ideal of what you want to be or who you want to serve or how you want to play life, all these other itty bitty things that are so irrelevant to life to some degree, right? They just go away. As a kid, you played with how many toys? It goes back to that example. And when you became a teenager, you stopped playing with those toys. Well, hopefully you did, right? And so that's how I would answer that question. There was a gentleman over here that had a question. Does that help?
Thank you so much for letting me ask the question, John. You mentioned it took you 8 years as a young agent before you first qualified for MDRT, right? How were you able to actually get your prospects continuously to get you actually to the point where you qualify for MDRT?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And so do you have $50? US? No? So how did I get prospects so what happened is during those first 8 years, I actually lived in Minnesota and then I moved to Chicago. When I made the move from Minnesota to Chicago, guess what followed me to Chicago? The fear of rejection. It was when I was in Chicago, I got over, because I went through that program, remember the thought zapper, blah, blah, blah. I got over it. And then I could call anybody anytime. I was relentless because I had no fear. And I moved to a new city where I didn't know anybody. So then the way I did it goes back to that terminology called positioning. And so I was an athlete, so I got involved in a lot of intramural sports. And because I was somewhat good, people always wanted me on their team. I got to know people, right? After the game, what do? You go out. And so here's the trick. What are the 3 questions people ask when they first meet you? Think about that for a moment. What are the 3 questions? What's your name? Where are you from? And what do you do? So the trick to the game is how do you answer the last question? What do you do? The rookies say, I sell life insurance. The professionals, they say, I help people protect their dreams and goals. When I say I help people protect their dreams and goals, what's the question that you have in your mind? How do you do that? That's the question 100% of the time. I've done this thousands and thousands of times. They say how, and I say, that's an interesting question. I would love to learn more about you. How about we get together for coffee or beer next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever it is. I do not answer the how question. If they push me on answering the how question, I say, take people through a 3-step process, 5-step process, and to identify their dreams and goals, and we work from there. But I immediately go for the appointment or I put it off because I'm there to socialize. I don't want to be that guy that, geez, we're going out to play and he wants to sell. That's not the guy I want to be. It goes back to an earlier, in the previous session, people are going to brand, B-R-A-N-D, you in the manner that they know you. So case in point, I'm a disability insurance specialist. That's how people know me. They don't know me any different. That's exactly it. And to prove my point, I'm going to tell a story, humbled by it. I come from a big family. There's 10 of us. My older brother called me just recently, within the last 6 months, and he said, hey, John, this is your brother Peter. How you doing? I'm great. What's up? Well, you're a man around town. You've got a Rolodex like nobody's business. Do you know anybody that could sell me some life insurance? Are you out of your frickin' mind? I've been doing this 30 plus years and you don't know that I sell life insurance? Whose fault is that? Yeah, oh, you're pointing the finger. Of course it's my fault. But isn't it funny how he did not. Actually, what I think he thought I did for a living is I was a phone book guy. I was a Rolodex guy. I think he thought because I just knew so many people that's what I did for a living. I don't know. It's a funny thing. Does that answer the question to a degree? Do you want more? The other way to get prospects is to identify center of influences. So who are center of influences? Accountants, attorneys, architects. I use private equity. Why do I use private equity? Who is private equity funding? Well, in the United States, they're funding businesses, typically startups. I work with a number of startups. The other thing that I did to get prospects is I went to, I wonder if they're in the room. They probably all left. Are all the executives from the insurance companies gone? Yeah, they're all gone. So I went to the CEO of an insurance company. This is how I got my largest client. And because I went on the trip, and he said, "Hey, is there anything I can do for you?" Oh boy, I love that question. I said, who are the law firms that the insurance company uses? And he says, wow, well, we use this one, and this one. He says, would you have any reason to not introduce me to any one of those managing partners? He says, no, I'll send that email out. I'll connect you. And so out of the 3 law firms that he introduced me to, we sold 2 of them. And so again, how do you get yourself positioned to have those kinds of conversations? Where do you get yourself positioned? I'm a member of the Chicago Bar Association. Who's in the Chicago Bar Association? Attorneys. Who do I work with? Attorneys. How do I become known within the legal marketplace? Well, this is how I become known. I formed an HR study group for law firm HR professionals. I didn't sell anything, I just educated. And I brought in expertise and the study group, and then guess what happens? I started doing business with some of the law firms. Not because I did everything, but I just did something very specific. Anybody? So
Thank you. So basically what I'm hearing you saying is that, again, from your first session, you partnered with people or businesses that can provide a specific service in the line of what you want to provide. You weren't jack of all trades, but you certainly was the business manager of the trade.
So yes, so I built my distribution, and he's going to have one right here. So I built one of my lines of distribution was other financial advisors, because I personally do not have a relationship with all the law firms in Chicago. So how did I get to that broker or advisor? I would call the law firm HR department and I'd ask, Susan, my name is John Nichols. I'm in the insurance business. I know you probably have a broker. I'm just curious who takes care of your insurance. And she says, well, geez, it's Mark Jacobson. He's been doing our insurance for 20 years. I says, great, that's all I need. I can figure out where Mark is. I can get his name and number. And I call Mark and I say, hey, Mark, my name is John Nichols. I'm an expert in disability insurance. I happen to call XYZ law firm, and they gave me your name and number. I'm wondering if we could have a brief conversation. Yeah, what's on your mind? Now, not every financial advisor is all excited about that, but there are enough that are. That want to leverage my expertise within their client.
Hi. So my question is based on quantity versus quality, right? I'm a relatively new agent. So how do you determine whether to focus your efforts on just reaching as many people as possible versus focusing on one niche and really honing in on it? What is your opinion on that?
So the time will come where the niche will expose itself. Because when I first started, I was doing anybody, everybody. As a matter of fact, I just wanted everybody to know what I did for a living. Apparently, I didn't do a very good job with my family. But when I joined the insurance business, my family basically said, please don't ever call me. So I think in my brother's mind, he still had that mindset of geez, I'm never going to do business with my brother because he's in the insurance business. But then when he needed life insurance, whatever. So I wouldn't worry too much about it yet, but I would keep an eye on it. And I use something called the 3 A's. The 3 A's is awareness. So now you're aware because you're asking the question. You're aware of, okay, I may want to specialize in a particular market. The second one is you're going to assess that market. How big is the market? How many players are in the market? Why do I like that market? You may have an affinity to that market. I'm in the law firm marketplace because my brother and my sister are attorneys, and I had access points to get in. So again, you may have reasons. So you're doing this assessment. And then the last A is an action plan. Let's build a short 1-page, half-page action plan on how I can position myself better in that marketplace. Is there an association? Do they have meetings? How can I meet the contacts? Can I just go have informational meetings with people in that particular industry? Are there trade magazines that I can read? I mean, you got to study up and just kind of take it one step at a time. But today, anybody and everybody, right? I want you to become known for what? What do you do for a living? I help people protect their dreams and goals. Well, how do you do that? I have a 3-step process I take people through. It's called discovery. It's called strategic planning. It's called action implementation. 1, 2, 3. If you want to have a 5-step plan, I can build out the 5-step plan, but there's a very quick 3-step plan on how you take your clients through a process. Please know that every one of your clients wants an experience. When you join MDRT, you have an experience extraordinaire. We are premier because we have premier experiences. When I do business with any of you as a client, I want to have an experience, right? A positive one. Positive, productive, purposeful. So that's the other side of the equation. Your name will get out if people have a great experience with you. Wow, he made it so easy. I learned so much. He's so nice. I get that all the time. He's so nice. So nice. Yeah, I know. I'm so nice. Anyways, are we having fun yet? All right, just checking in with the group. When you're on main stage, it's so far away. It was really hard to know if I was with you.
How do you emphasize the great importance of disability insurance?
So most people think I use my story as the impetus to get people interested in disability insurance. And that's not what I do. It generally comes out because what do most prospects, and I hate to call them prospects, potential customers, what do they do today before you go meet them? Well, at least in the United States, they're researching me. They're checking out my LinkedIn, they're checking Facebook, they're Googling me. I mean, so many times they will already be exposed to my background before I even get to their doorstep or their office. And so I have a number of things. So one of my books is called Passion, Protection. One of my books is called, all right, you get the idea. It's Passion, Purpose, Protection. And so I'll have a conversation with my customers or potential customers around their capabilities. So what are you best in the world at? If you were Michael Jordan, do you think Michael Jordan insured his basketball skills? How many in the room think Michael Jordan would spend the money to insure his body, which was his tool, right? That was his athletic gifts. How many people think he would insure it? As a matter of fact, Michael Jordan was a client of mine, and yeah, he insured his capabilities. So you, Mr. Customer or Mrs. Customer, does it make any sense to insure your talents and abilities against an accident or an illness? So, sir, regarding disability insurance, it's really not disability insurance, it's purpose insurance. Because if you have an accident or illness like I had, guess what I lost? I lost my purpose like that. I was moving in with my mom and dad, and things were not looking so hot. I mean, at that point, to be frank with you, not to bring the audience down, but do you think suicide kind of crossed my mind? Do you think that's how I wanted to live my life, is with mommy and daddy changing my diaper at 32 years old? That's pretty humbling. And so maybe we're insuring your talents and abilities so you can perform your purpose in life. How do we do that? We use a tool called disability insurance. So if any of you want a copy of my book, you just email me or give me a business card. I'll email you the PDF free of charge. I'm not here to, no money. You can give me money if you want, but you don't have to. Anybody else? Oh, right here.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to ask my questions. I actually have two. There's something that you said earlier that stood out to me. You said to live a centered life as opposed to a balanced life. Are there any tips that you would give to us with respect to living a centered life?
Yeah, beautiful.
And my second question would be, what did you tell yourself when you felt like giving up? What would have kept you motivated?
Are you a psychologist or a psychiatrist?
No,
Remember when I said you had to introduce yourself to yourself? You have to introduce yourself to yourself to identify what are those values that are most important to you. And so I would go back to that, the 3 A's: become aware, assess, and then take the action. Let's just be really honest with each other right now. There's no such thing as cutting your life into 4 equal parts. Let's just be honest about it. You're going to work more than you're going to play. That's just kind of how it is now. Unless you're living my life, you're playing all the time and working a little bit of time. But so let's just get that myth out of the way. And then just identify what those values are, and the values will help you determine what your priority is. So just to simplify things, it's work, it's family, it's my close friends, it's my hobbies. Let's just use those 4, right? And so that's pretty easy. All right, I got 4. I know I'm going to probably work my 8 hours. What if you could work 6 hours and be just as effective? Think about that. I had a conversation with somebody a couple days ago on that question. And then obviously family time, obviously workout time, friends time. And I think the most important thing to accomplish a centered life is that when you're doing one of those 4, and there may be 5, 6, or 7, when you're doing one of those 4, be present in that one. What we tend to live our lives is with the anxiety of our past and the worry of our future. Anxiety of our past, I'm just so torn up about my accident, and the worry of my future of, am I going to be financially secure? Versus a centered life is, I'm honest, I live with integrity, I'm living for today, I'm happy, I'm productive, I'm positive, I'm purposeful. I'm just staying right here What do I have to do today? I got 3 appointments. I got my workout. I'm having dinner with my family, and that's it. Right? And max out the day. Just take it, just don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will come if it comes. I don't even know if you'll wake up, but if it does, we'll just redo it, right? And can't do anything about the past. What I can do is right here, right now, and I'm going to max it out. One of the greatest traits I have, and Sarah knows this, my friend Sarah, I'm what's called a maximizer. So one of my greatest skill sets is that when I get involved in something, I max it out because I want to play A+. So those would be my comments around living a centered life. My dad, I don't know, how much time do we have?
5 minutes. And the other question would have been, I believe, how do you keep going in terms of when you face whatever other level or adversity? Besides being centered, what do you do to keep going? Is there a daily reminder? Is there something that a routine or?
Well, let me just check my schedule. My schedule tells me to keep going. So I just keep going. And it doesn't have to make it any more difficult than that. Don't overthink it. I'm an overthinker, so stop overthinking. So look at 2 quick things. We got 5 minutes. I'm going to jam a bunch of content in now. I want you to walk out of the room knowing there are 3 components to your 3 operational tools that are part of your life. One is your intellect, one is your mind, and one is your body. Can your body operate without your mind or intellect? Yes or no? Can it? Yes or no? No, your body can't do anything unless your mind or intellect tells you what to do. Your mind is full of emotions, likes, dislikes, desires. That's emotions. That's your mind. I was living in my mind, and I wasn't activating my intellect to control my mind. If I operate from my mind at lunch today, I would have had 16 desserts. But my intellect is strong enough to know that dessert is not my thing, and so I don't do dessert. That's the difference. So you don't like to make phone calls, that's a like or dislike. Your intellect doesn't care that it's a like or a dislike, it just makes the phone calls. And so that's why I use the thought zapper to get to the intellect to operate my day, right? That's what I want to do. Doesn't mean I'm not playing with emotion. You saw me cry, wonderful. How exciting is that? So mind, body, intellect, where are you operating from? I'm going to tell my dad's story, or I'll give you a choice. My dad's story or how I started my business. Which one? Dad's story, business. Wow, you want them both. Okay. My dad's story was awesome. My dad, no, it wasn't awesome. My dad was, I'll close with my dad. I'm going to go 2 minutes. So let me borrow you for a second. What's your name? Nicholas. Well, of course you're Nicholas. I'm John Nichols. This is my brother from another mother. So I started my business in 1999. I went back to the office, and I go home to my wife at the time, and I tell her I'm opening up this business. She was like, "You're opening up a business?" I said, "Yeah." She says, "Well, how much money do you have in your checking account?" I said, "Well, I don't know. Let's check it out." So what do I have here? Nice and loud. What's this called?
Personal financial statement.
Personal financial statement. You got to speak up. What's the date?
1999.
1999. So this is my 1999 personal financial statement with a coffee stain. Okay, that's just how it is. How much money did I have in my bank account for my business? How much is that?
10,000.
10,000 whopping dollars. My wife was so excited. And she got even more excited when I said I hired somebody and I paid that person $5,000 the first month. She was like, $5,000? You got to be kidding me. So she, being the smart one in the family, she turned the page. Then she said this column,
Life insurance.
life insurance. And how much life insurance, and I remember this is age 32, did I have at,
60,000
no, plus?
or 360,000.
360,000. Wow, so that was interesting. And then she saw the cash value,
13,500.
13,500, and my wife said she was better off with me dead than alive. So I tell that story because, yeah, it's very, and I still have it, you know, and maybe I should get rid of it. I tell that story because those were humble beginnings. But that's how life is, humble beginnings, and then we put the pieces in place, we start doing business. I hired one employee, I hired the next employee, I ended up with 20 employees. As I mentioned, I grew a $20 million book of business, and you know, I had a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful career. And so my point is it's possible. Last story, and we'll close, is my father is on his deathbed. Spent 2 weeks with him before he passed away. We come from a big family, there's 10 of us. He met with every one of us for 15 minutes. My dad was very operationally minded. So I get 15 minutes with my dad. I'm third in line, so I get in the meeting. He just had two things for me. He says, "Sean, I'm not even going to take 15 minutes." I'm like, wow, I don't even get 15 minutes with my dad. And he says, just two things. One, I want you to be the son that takes care of my wife, your mother. Would you do that for me? Okay, I'll do that. I mean, who would? Well, of course I'm going to take care of my mom. My mom lives about a mile away from me, just far enough where she can't visit me every day. But as funny thing is, as life goes around, I'm now doing her laundry and cooking her meals. It's the funniest thing. It's like, Dad, wow, we just did a role reversal. The second thing that my dad said that I want to leave you with, he said, son, I want you to continue to go out and make a difference in life. So here you all are. Thank you for coming to this, but please go out and continue to make a difference in the lives that are important to you.
Let's give John a round of applause. And before we wrap up, I really want to extend our gratitude on behalf of the executive of TAIFA, on behalf of all of our attendees and the committee that organized this event. We really want to tell you thank you. And this is just a token of appreciation. So John, thank you very much, and may God continue to bless you.
Attention.